Welcome to the Privacy Report. We're the show dedicated to, well, pulling back the curtain on the hidden systems that shape our digital lives and autonomy.
And today, we're tackling a really fundamental idea most people have about surveillance,
Which is?
that the government knows the most about you. You know, the assumption that the deepest, most detailed files are locked away in some official, maybe slightly dusty government archive somewhere.
Yeah, the classic Big Brother image.
Yeah.
But that picture, it's seriously outdated, isn't it?
Completely. The reality we're digging into today is way more complex and, frankly, a lot more shocking.
Because it's not the government.
Well, not primarily. It's these private companies, data brokers, operating almost entirely in the shadows. And the profiles they build on you are often vastly more detailed, more insightful, even predictive than anything a government agency typically holds.
An invisible industry, you called it.
Exactly. So our goal today is to unpack what these companies are, how they manage to gather so much, and why they actually have this significant advantage over traditional state surveillance.
It feels pretty crucial to understand this if you want any hope of navigating privacy today.
It really is. And just before we dive in, a quick reminder. You can get more analysis like this, plus practical tips sent straight to your inbox. Just subscribe to our email newsletter over at theprivacyreport.net.
Okay, so let's lay the groundwork. Data brokers. Who are these companies exactly? They're not the household names, the social media giants, are they?
Sometimes they have connections, but often no. They're more like the second, third, even fourth layer deep companies you've likely never heard of.
And their whole business is data.
Their entire model is built on 3 steps: collection, analysis, and sale. First, they collect personal information from, well, almost everywhere they possibly can.
So they vacuum it up.
Pretty much. Then they analyze it, stitch it together, build these incredibly detailed individual profiles.
And
Then they sell those profiles, sometimes as raw data, sometimes as insights or scores.
sold to who? Just advertisers.
Oh, advertisers are definitely big customers, but also financial institutions, think mortgage lenders, insurance companies. Political campaigns rely heavily on them.
Okay.
And maybe most surprisingly, even government agencies themselves buy this data.
We'll definitely need to circle back to that government angle. But first, the sources. You said almost everywhere. What does that really mean? Where are they getting it?
It's staggering, truly, because it's often data points that seem trivial on their own.
Like what?
Okay, so your social media activity, obviously. Likes, shares, comments, even how long you pause on a post.
Your mouse movements. Seriously.
Sometimes, yeah. Website interactions,
Yeah.
definitely your search history, every single query, your credit card purchases, item by item.
Wow. Okay.
But it's not just digital, it includes physical world data, too. Think GPS location from your smartphone.
From which apps?
Often multiple apps, sometimes even when you think they're closed. It can be incredibly precise, showing your daily commute where you stop.
Okay, that's a bit creepy.
It gets creepier. Loyalty cards from grocery stores, drugstores, you name it, those track your purchases in detail.
Right, the discount card.
Exactly. It's a tracking device you carry willingly. And they combine all that with public records, voter rolls, property records, marriage licenses.
So they mash everything together.
That's the key. The real power isn't in any single data point like you buying diapers.
Right, that seems innocent enough.
But when they see you also searched for best pediatricians near me, maybe looked up daycare costs, and your credit card shows purchases at baby stores.
Then they don't need you to tell them you're a new parent.
Precisely. They infer it. They assign you a score, like a new parent propensity score, with maybe, say, 95% confidence. They build this incredibly high-resolution portrait of your life, your habits, your concerns, your relationships, all through inference, not because you explicitly told them.
They know what you do, not just what you say you are.
Exactly. And that leads us right into this critical difference, this knowledge gap between governments and corporations.
Okay, let's unpack that. How does government data collection compare?
It's fundamentally different in purpose and method. Governments generally collect what you report to them.
Like on tax forms or for a driver's license.
Right. Your official identity, your declared income, employment status, legal records, maybe travel documents if you cross borders. It's usually for specific, legally authorized purposes.
And it's often kind of static, right? Like a snapshot in time.
Very much so. It's what they need for administration. Data brokers, on the other hand, collect what they can get. Their focus is entirely on your behavior, your interests, your movements, often in real time.
So government knows I paid my taxes. Data brokers know I hesitated over buying that expensive gadget online for 10 minutes before giving in.
That's a good way to put it. They know what time you usually leave home, maybe who you likely live with based on shared location patterns.
They know which medical symptoms you Googled late at night.
Absolutely. They know which political articles you read, maybe even which ones you started to comment on but then deleted. It's that intimate, continuous behavioral detail.
But hold on. If this behavioral stuff is so valuable, why don't government agencies just, demand it from the companies? Why can't the IRS or FBI just get this level of insight?
That comes down to legal constraints and, frankly, public perception.
The Fourth Amendment, things like that.
Exactly. Governments, at least in theory, face constitutional limits, laws about warrants, oversight committees. There's usually a political cost if they're seen as doing mass surveillance on their own citizens. Their collection is supposed to be targeted based on necessity.
Yep.
Data brokers. They operate in a commercial sphere with far fewer restrictions. Their collection is driven by market opportunity, not legal necessity. They exploit loopholes, especially in privacy policies and terms of service.
Those massive documents nobody ever reads.
Precisely. That's where you often consent to this collection without realizing the extent of it. So the government is building files based on official interactions.
Well, the corporations are basically monitoring a live feed of your life.
You got it. And that's where the corporate advantage really kicks in. It's about those legal differences and the pure business drive.
The government has to worry about public backlash, legal challenges.
Right. They operate, relatively speaking, in the open. Data brokers thrive in the shadows. They love legal gray areas.
And they often hide behind this idea of anonymized data, don't they? Saying they've removed names and addresses.
They do, and that's a really critical point to understand. They claim it's anonymized, which sounds protective, but it's often trivially easy to re-identify you. Think about it. Even without your name, if they have your precise location pattern day after day, your unique shopping habits across different stores, your specific search queries.
There's only one person who fits that exact pattern, me.
Exactly. Correlating just a few of those supposedly anonymous data points can pinpoint you with extremely high accuracy. It's called de-anonymization, and it's a huge loophole they rely on. The anonymity claim is often very flimsy in practice.
So, invisibility, flimsy anonymity. And you mentioned the time factor, too. Government data is often looking backward.
Yeah, it's historical. Tax records from last year, where you lived 5 years ago. Data brokers offer something much more potent, a continuous live feed.
My data stream is being updated constantly.
Potentially down to the minute.
Yep.
Your current location, what you just searched for, the article you're reading right now, this real-time aspect is incredibly valuable to their clients.
And it doesn't stop there, does it? They don't just know what I did.
No, that's the next really powerful step. They move into prediction, using all that past and present data to forecast what you will do next.
Predictive analytics.
That's the term. They build sophisticated statistical models. These models predict your likelihood of, say, changing jobs in the next 6 months.
Or having a baby, like you mentioned earlier.
Or defaulting on a loan. Or being particularly susceptible to a certain kind of political message based on your reading habits and emotional triggers they've inferred.
So they're not just selling data, they're selling forecasts about my future behavior.
And potentially tools to influence that behavior, which leads us to some really alarming implications.
Okay, let's go there. What are the biggest risks for, the average person listening to this?
Well, first, let's connect the dots back to the government. Remember we said agencies buy this data?
Yeah, the government loophole.
This is where it gets deeply concerning for civil liberties. Imagine a situation where a law enforcement agency is legally required to get a warrant to, say, track your phone's location directly.
Okay, like the Fourth Amendment requires probable cause.
Right. But what if they can't meet that standard? Or just want to skip the hassle?
They just buy the location data from a broker who wasn't legally required to get a warrant in the first place.
Exactly. They purchase the commercially collected data profile, which includes hyper-detailed location history, web browsing, purchase records, everything we've been talking about.
So commercial surveillance effectively becomes government surveillance, but without the warrants, without the oversight, without the legal checks and balances.
Precisely. It's an end run around constitutional protections, facilitated by this private data market. That's a massive loophole with huge implications.
Okay, that's alarming. What about the more direct personal risks? How does this affect me day to day?
Well, the most obvious one is manipulation. We talk about targeted advertising.
Running ads for shoes I just looked at.
It goes way beyond that. When a company or a political campaign knows your specific anxieties, maybe financial worries, health concerns, relationship insecurities.
They know exactly which buttons to push.
Right. They can tailor messages designed to trigger those specific emotions to make you buy something, donate to a cause, vote a certain way, maybe even sign up for a high-interest loan that preys on your financial vulnerability. It's micro-targeting your weaknesses.
It feels different than just showing me relevant ads.
It is. And then there's the risk of discrimination and exclusion. These profiles are used to make real-world decisions about you. Imagine applying for a job. A potential employer might buy a data profile that labels you, based on some algorithm, as a likely job jumper or maybe low workplace engagement potential.
Based on my browsing history.
Could be. Or maybe patterns inferred from your social media or purchase history. Similarly, a lender might see a flag labeling you financially volatile, or an insurer might charge you higher rates based on inferred health risks from your searches.
And I wouldn't even know this profile exists. Or that it was used against me.
Usually not. And worse, what if the profile is wrong? What if the inferences are inaccurate? You have almost no way to see it, challenge it, or correct it. You just face the consequences, the rejection, the higher rate.
That lack of transparency is terrifying.
It leads to a fundamental loss of autonomy. When external companies or potentially governments using their data understand your psychological triggers better than you might understand them yourself.
The goal isn't just to sell you something anymore.
The goal can shift towards actively shaping and controlling your behavior, your choices, your perceptions. That erosion of genuine, independent decision-making, that's arguably the deepest cost.
Wow. Okay, so given this pretty overwhelming picture, what can people actually do? Is it hopeless? Can we opt out?
Realistically, a complete opt-out from all data collection in the modern world is probably impossible.
Right, that seems true.
But you can absolutely take steps to significantly reduce your data footprint, make yourself a harder target, and decrease the amount and quality of data they collect about you.
Okay, practical steps. What should people focus on?
First, try to choke off the data flow at the source. Use privacy-respecting tools.
Like different web browsers.
Exactly. Browsers like Firefox or Brave are much better than Chrome in terms of blocking trackers. Use search engines like DuckDuckGo, which don't profile you based on your searches.
Makes sense. What else?
Be really diligent in your settings. Go into your apps, your social media accounts, your operating system settings, and turn off ad personalization wherever possible. Turn off location tracking for apps that don't absolutely need it.
Be more mindful about permissions.
Definitely. And minimize those direct identity links. Think twice about loyalty cards.
The grocery store card again.
Yeah. Is the tiny discount worth giving them a perfect record of everything you buy, which they then likely sell? Maybe not.
Good point. Any other big ones?
There are opt-out mechanisms. Major data brokers like Axiom, Oracle Data Cloud, Epsilon, they often have web pages where you can request to opt out of their databases.
That effective?
It's tedious. You often have to do it individually for many brokers, and it might not remove everything, but it's worth doing. It does reduce some of the flow. Services exist to help automate this, but do your research on them first.
Okay. What about more technical measures? People talk about VPNs, for instance. Do they help against brokers?
Yes, they can. Let's break that down quickly. Brokers track you partly using your IP address, which is like your computer's mailing address online, and also by looking at your DNS requests.
The DNS.
Domain name system. It's like the internet's phone book. When you type a website address, your computer asks the DNS server for the actual IP address. Those requests reveal every site you visit.
So how do VPNs and things like DOH help?
Okay, a VPN, virtual private network, routes your traffic through its own servers, masking your real IP address. To websites and trackers, it looks like you're coming from the VPN server's location, not your home. It helps obscure your identity and location.
Got it. And DOH?
DNS over HTTPS. It encrypts those phone book lookup requests. So your internet service provider, who might be selling that browsing data to brokers, can't easily see which websites you're trying to visit. Both VPNs and DOH add layers of protection, making it harder to tie your activity back to you.
So individual actions can make a difference, reduce exposure. But it sounds like fighting a giant system one person at a time.
It is. And that's why the long-term solution really has to be systemic. Individual actions are good, necessary even, but they won't solve the core problem.
Which requires
real, meaningful regulatory change. We need strong legislation that fundamentally changes how we treat personal data.
from a commodity to
Yeah.
What?
To a protected asset, maybe even a fundamental right. It shouldn't be this unregulated resource that companies can just grab and exploit. Until the laws change the incentives, the default will always be to collect as much as possible.
That's a huge shift needed. So wrapping this up, we started with that assumption. Government knows best. But the takeaway is starkly different.
It really is, to summarize. Governments generally collect what they need, and they operate, however imperfectly, under some level of legal scrutiny and public awareness.
Whereas data brokers,
Data brokers collect everything they possibly can, mostly in secret, driven by profit. And they use that vast, intimate knowledge not just to categorize you, but to predict and influence your behavior.
understanding that fundamental difference, need versus can, light versus dark, that feels like the absolutely essential first step for anyone wanting to reclaim some control.
It is. And it leaves you with a chilling thought, doesn't it? What did you do today, online or off, that you didn't realize someone was meticulously recording and analyzing?
A powerful question to ponder. Thank you for tuning in to the Privacy Report. If you found this exploration of the data broker world insightful, please do like and subscribe wherever you listen. It helps others find the show.
And just a final note, this episode was made with the assistance of AI.